Hello, everyone. My name is Mr. Zabron Ernest. I'm a teacher at the Arimuntaziri Islamic Seminary, Girls Wing. Welcome for the marking scheme of Cambridge Lower Secondary Checkpoint, Mathematics Paper 1, April 2021 hour. So the duration for this paper was 1 hour, so I will be taking you through the marking scheme of this paper the way how it is, and this is paper 1. So that means with paper 1, you are not allowed to use a calculator. Okay, so there we go. Let us start with this page number 2. Page number 2 is having question number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so there we go. Work out the value of 5 square plus the square root of 121. Right, so as you all know that 5 square is 5 times 5, that is 25. So go ahead writing 25 there, and then you are good to go. So 5 square, this is 25. So we write 25 here. And then the square root of 121 is 11. Okay, 21, square root of 121 is 11, so 25 plus 11. This will be 6, that will be 36. So the answer is 36. The answer is 36, and you get your 1 mark there. Right, so we have simplify x power 6 times x power 3, x power 6 times x power 3. Since we are multiplying same bases, so what we're going to do, we're going to maintain the same base there. But what happens on the indices or on the exponents, we plus them, and 6 plus 3 makes 9. So the answer will be x to the power of 9. So you get your 1 mark there. Right, 14 over 3 is a mixed number. So you're going to do 14 divided by 3 by long division method. This will be 4 times 3, that becomes 12. You subtract, this becomes 2. So this answer here is what we write as a whole number. The remainder forms a numerator, and this number over here becomes the denominator. So the answer will be 4 over 3, and you get your 1 mark there. All right, so quickly we got to write 8 as a percentage of 32. So take 8 as a percentage of 32. This means 8 will be your numerator and 32 will be your denominator. So the first thing is to write 8 as a fraction of 32, and you'll be getting something like this. Now, because they need percentage, so you're going to multiply by 100%, like so, and then you start simplifying. By 8, this is 1. By 8, that is 4. By 4, this is 1. By 4, that is 25. So the answer will be 25%. So there you go. Get your 1 mark slowly. Then you go to question number 4. Simplify negative. You have negative 6p plus 4p minus 5p. Now, the way how we teach this is that if you have got a negative number starting there, followed by a positive number. So what we do, we usually swap these numbers, okay? So 4p starts there, followed by negative 6p. And then this minus 5p, you leave it by now. Just ignore this first for the time being, and then work out what is 4p minus 6p. This will be negative 2p, and then followed by negative 5p. And you can see that the negative, you have negative 2, you have negative 2 minus 5. This makes negative 7. So the answer will be negative 7p. That is your answer. So go ahead writing here, negative 7p. So the answer will be negative 7p. And when you do that, you get your 1 mark. All right, so negative 7p is your answer. Let us go on with the next question over here. And then this question is to solve. To solve means to find the value of the letter used. So let me try to zoom this equation. We have 5x have 5x plus 35. So go ahead writing 5x plus 35, that equals to 75. So how do we move from here? This positive 35 will be shifted to the other side, and this will be 5x equals to 75 minus 35. This becomes 5x equals to 75 minus 35. That will be 40. To find the value of x, you need to divide it by 5. You need to divide it by 5. And this is a no calculator paper. So this becomes 40 divided by 5. Simply write 8. So x is equal to 8. And you get your 1 mark there. All right, so there we go. We have the grid shows the positions of 3 points A, B, and C. Now, the question says ABCD is a square. ABCD is a square. Write down the coordinates of point D. Okay, so what you're supposed to do over here is to connect these points, and you get a shape of a square. Let us try to connect quickly. So you're gonna take, okay, you're gonna take, connect this point B to A, like so, and then connect point B to C, like so, and then try to check and see that ABCD is a square, has to be a square. ABC, we are supposed to look for the correct position of where point D is in such a way that you get a square. Okay, so you start counting clearly that from here, from point B to point C, you have swept how many boxes? 1, 2, 3 boxes you have gone through. So from here, you have to maintain the same number of boxes from A to D. So 4 boxes. So you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4. So the point D will be somewhere here. This will be a point D, because this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and here you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you connect. You have to connect this point from here to that point. Now the location of point D, will be somewhere here. So go ahead writing point D. That is your point D, and then write the coordinates of that point. So how do we write the coordinates of that point? The coordinates of that point D will be -2, -1. So the coordinates will be -2, -1. So this will be -2, -1. Okay. So that's all how to get that question. And let us move on. The next question is this question here. You have this graph shows the number of drinks that are sold in 1 week. This graph is known as a bar graph. This graph here is known as a bar graph. A bar graph uses rectangles which have got a space in between corresponding rectangles. So over here, we have a bar graph which shows the number of drinks sold versus the type of drink. Now the question is, work out how many more drinks of lemonade than water are sold. So we have lemonade. Okay, we have lemonade is how much was sold. The number of drinks sold of lemonade was equal to 12. So lemonade will have 12 drinks sold. Versus water, we had this point here, which is reading 7. Okay, that's 6, that is 8. So in between here, this will be automatically be equal to 7. So now the question is, work out how many more drinks of lemonade than water are sold. So what we do, you take 12 minus 7, do 12 minus 7, 12 minus 7 will be equal to 5. So the answer will be 5 there. Okay, the next one is write down the model drink. Write down the model drink. What does model drink mean? The word model comes from this word here, which we call it mod. So model is the same as mod, and mod is a data which has been repeated most frequently. But as from the bar graph, how do we know which drink represents the mod? So the drink which appears to have the longest rectangle. So here, write down the model drink. So here the model drink is the one which appears to have the longest rectangle. So the model drink is the drink which appears to have the longest rectangle. So you go back here and then check which rectangle out of these is the longest, and then pick the drink which is represented by that longest rectangle. So the drink over here is coffee. So here, write down the model drink. The model drink here will be coffee. And you get your 1 mark there. All right, the next question is write a number in the box to make this statement correct. 5 centimeters square equals to how many millimeters square? 5 centimeters square equals to how many millimeters square? So what you're supposed to do is first to go back to King Henry Daughter and then check in 1 centimeter first, in 1 centimeter, how many millimeters are there. So you find that 1 centimeter equals to 10 millimeter. Now we don't need centimeter and millimeter, we need centimeter square. So how do you convert a centimeter to be a centimeter square? What we do, we need to do a square on both sides, apply square on both sides. So over here, 1 centimeter square will mean 1 centimeter, times 1 centimeter. And 10 millimeter square will mean 10 millimeter times 10 millimeter. Now, do you know what it means? It means that 1 centimeter times 1 centimeter, this will be equal to 1 centimeter square. Likewise, 10 millimeter times 10 millimeter, this will be 100 millimeter times millimeter, this will be millimeter square. Now, it means that 1 centimeter square is equal to 100 millimeter square. This is what it means. Now you go back to the question and then you use this conversion factor, which is 1 centimeter square equals to 100 millimeter square. You use that to answer this question. How about 5 centimeter square? 5 centimeter square will be equal to how many millimeter square? So when you do that, when you do this setup, then you need to cross multiply. So it will be this number here multiplied by 100. The answer you get, you'll be dividing by 1. So this will be 5 times 100. The answer you get, you divide by 1. And this will be 5 times 100. This will be 500. When you divide by 1, the answer will be 500, like so. So here you'll be writing 500. And once you do that, you get your 1 mark. Okay, so let me go to the next question. The next question is this question over here. We have this question here. Now this question says, complete the table to show equivalent numbers. The first row is completed for you as an example. So we have, let us try talking about the example first. We have The ordinary number is 100, but how many zeros are there? We have 1, 2 zeros, and that will mean 10 to the power of 2. So go ahead filling this. This ordinary number, 10,000. How many zeros are there? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. So go ahead writing 10 to the power of 4. How about 10 to the power of 5? 10 to the power of 5 means 10 to the power of 5 means 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many zeros are there? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros. So we're going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros. And then you go ahead writing 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1. That equals to 1. So 10 to the power of 5 means 100,000. So once you do that, you'll be getting your 1 mark. Okay, the next question here is 9b. Work out 1.2 divided by 0.01. Okay, so how do we do that? Try to write this number, these two numbers as a fraction. So you're going to have 1.2 divided by 0.01. Now to do that, you go ahead checking how many decimal places are there in the numerator. So in the numerator, we have 1 decimal place, and in the denominator, you have more decimal places compared with the numerator. So over here, in the denominator, we have 2 decimal places. That will mean 100. So you're going to multiply by 100 here, and also you do times 100 on top. And this will give you 1.2 times 100. You have 1 decimal place here. 1 decimal place will cancel this 1 0. And then you're going to have 12 times 10 over. Here you have 2 decimal places. Now these 2 decimal places will cancel all these 2 zeros. And then you're going to have 1 times 1. And this will be equal to 12 times 10 is 120. Divided by 1 times 1, that is 1. 120 divided by 1, the answer will be 120. And when you do that, you get your 1 mark. Question number 10. Mike has 6 cards, each labeled with a letter. Okay, there are 6 cards here, and each card is labeled with a letter. We have the first card here, which is labeled with letter C, and the second card is labeled H. The third card is labeled A, and so on until the last card, which is labeled E. Now the question is, Mike selects a card at random and records the letter on it. Write down a list of all possible outcomes. Okay, Mike has 6 cards, each labeled with a letter. We have the first card labeled C, second labeled H, and so on until the last card labeled E. Now he selects a card at random and records the letter on it. Question A, write down a list of all the possible outcomes. Okay, so the first possibility is that Mike can choose or can select a card labeled C. Mike can select a card labeled C. Can either be this C or this C, so it does not matter, and you don't have to repeat. C is C, so once you choose this card labeled C, there is no point of choosing that card because you are selecting a card among of all these 6 cards, but 2 cards have got the same letter, and that is C. So once you select this, that is C, and does not make any difference when you select that card, okay? So you don't have to repeat writing the letters that you can select C and then select C again. That possibility is not possible. Right, so go ahead choosing that. Another possibility is Mike can choose a card with letter H, or choose a card with letter A, or choose a card with letter N, or choose a card with the letter E. So we have only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 possibilities out of all these 6 cards. Okay, now write down the probability. Okay, what is the probability? Probability is a fraction whereby the numerator represents the outcome, and the denominator represents all the possible outcomes out of this. Okay, now write down the probability that Mike select a card that is labeled with the letter with the letter C. Okay, so the probability is a fraction where the numerator stands for how many C's. How many C's can you count out of these 6 cards? I repeat, the probability of selecting letter C depends on how many cards are labeled letter C. So the probability that Mike selects a card with letter C is that the numerator will be how many cards have got, how many cards are labeled with letter C? So there are 2 of them. And how many cards does Mike have? So Mike has 6 cards. Okay, so the probability will be 2 out of 6. So go ahead writing 2 out of 6 there. When you do that, you get your 1 good mark. All right, let's continue. Okay, the next question is this one here. This question is talking about 2 people, Gabriela and Pierre. Okay, now this question says, okay, here we go. Gabriela is 110 centimeters tall, and Pierre is 154 centimeters tall. Okay, so they are talking about the Gabriela's height and Pierre's height. This is the ratio. This is the ratio of their masses. Gabriela's mass ratio Pierre's mass. So that ratio is 3:8. Now, the value of their total mass, in a kilogram is 1/4 of the value of their total height. So here we need to find the total height because we don't know their total mass. So the total height here will be 110 centimeters plus 154 centimeters. When you do that, you're gonna get 264 centimeters. So this is the total height. Okay. Now, can we get the total mass? Yes, we can also calculate the total mass. But the total mass is, see this, the total mass in kilogram, is, that means put is equal to, is 1/4 of, means times, the value of the total height. Now, the value of the total height, we got it, is 264. Now, when you simplify this by 4, 1, by 4, this will be 4 makes 24, and this becomes, by 4 that makes 1, and by 4 that makes 6. 6 times 4 is 24. Subtract that. That will be equal to 66. So the total mass in kilograms will be equal to 66 kg. That is the total mass of Gabriela and Pierre. Now look at this. Gabriela's mass is the ratio of Gabriela's mass to Pierre's mass is 3:8. Now the question here is complete the table. We need to complete this table, meaning we have to calculate the mass of Gabriela and the mass of Pierre. But remember, their total mass is 66 kilograms. So we're gonna use this ratio. To know what is the mass of each person. So the ratio is Gabriela's mass, ratio Pierre's mass is 3:8. So we're gonna start with Gabriela. So we have Gabriela's mass. Now to find Gabriella's mass, we're gonna look to the ratio that Gabriella takes 3 in this ratio. So it will be 3 out of 11. Now, how did I get 11? How did I get 11? Gabriella in this ratio takes 3, and the total ratio is 3 plus 11, 3 plus 8, which is 11. So if I'm looking for Gabriella's mass, I'm gonna take 3 out of 11 times the total mass, which is 66. Then when you simplify this, you're going to be getting by 11, 1, by 11, 6. And this will be 3 times 6. You'll be getting the Gabriella's mass will be 18 kg. How about Pierre? How about Pierre? What I'm going to do for Pierre, I'm going to do the same thing. Pierre takes 8 out of the total ratio, which is 11, multiplied by the total mass, which we got, that is 66 kg. When you simplify that by 11, 1 by 11, that makes 6. 8 times 6, you're going to get 48 kg. Now, what does it mean? It means that Gabriella is 18 kg and Pierre is 48 kg. So what do we write? Gabriella, we got 18, and Pierre, we got 44. Is it 44 or 48? Yes, we got 48, we got 18. So 18 for Gabriella and 48 for Pierre. And once you do that, you just go ahead and correct your 3 marks over there. Okay, so 18 by 48, and you can try to check. If you add these 2 numbers here, you're gonna get, this is 16, get 1, that is 5, so you'll get 66 as the total mass, which we got over here. Okay, so that is all about this question. So you can go ahead, you can pause the video, take these all calculations here, and then try to collect or try to answer this question on the question paper, and then you're good to go. So this is all how to do this question number 11. Okay, otherwise let us proceed. Let us proceed to the next question. So the next question is, we are given a pie chart. Now this pie chart is talking about Oliver. Now we say Oliver draws 2 pie charts that show their favorite subjects of students from 2 different schools. So we have school A, which has 200 students, and we have school B, which has 120 students. So there we go. We have school A, which has 200 students, and we have school B, which has 120 students. Now, what is the question? The question is that Oliver says that the same number of students in school A and in school B said maths is their favorite subject. Tick to show if Oliver is correct or not correct. You must show you are working here. You must show you are working here. And once you do that working, you get your 2 marks there. Okay, now let us try to check. Let us try to see maths. Okay, so let us start with school A. Now for school A, for the case of maths, there is 15% of the students. So you go ahead writing school A here. For maths, we want to know the number of students who prefer maths in school A. So you're gonna do 15%, meaning 15 over 100 multiplied by the total number of students, which is 200. When you do that, this will cancel, and this 15 times 2 will be giving you 30 students. Now let me check. This is 30 students who like maths for school A. How about school B? You do the same thing. You take maths. So this is school B. And then you write the subject maths. And then you want to know how many students in school B prefer maths. So you're going to take 25%, like so. and that will be multiplied by the total number of students, which is 120, and then go ahead simplifying this. This 0 and that 0, by 5, this is 5, by 5, this is 2, by 2, that is 1, by 2, that is 6. Can you see that I'm also getting 5 times 6? Now 5 times 6, that will be equal to 30 students. So that means we have the same number of students in both the schools who prefer maths. There are 30 students who prefer maths in school B, and there are also 30 students who prefer maths in school A. So that means Oliver is correct. Oliver is correct by saying that we have the same number of students in school A and in school B who say that maths is their favorite subject. You must show your working here. So the working which I showed there, this working which I showed here for school A and for school B should be transferred and should be written here. I think that is clear. All right, so you can pause the video and take notes of these calculations, but you'll be writing all these calculations somewhere here. Otherwise, let me proceed to the next part. Okay, there we go. We have this question here, question number 13. This question says the coordinates of point A are 3, 8. So this is point A, and the coordinates of point B are 9, 15. Can you find the coordinates of the midpoint? The midpoint says by the formula that midpoint equals to, in brackets, x1 plus x2, the answer you get divided by 2, put a comma, then y1 plus y2, the answer you get divided by 2. You may be surprised, what are these x1 and x2? What are these y1 and y2? If these x1, x2, y1, y2, you simply get them after you label these points A and B. How do we label? The first number before a comma is the value of x, and the second number after a comma is the value of y. The same applies here. We have the first number before a comma belongs to x, and the second number after a comma belongs to y. Now, can you see that I have two values of x? One value of x is this, and another value of x is this one. So go ahead labeling that this, the first value of x, you label it as x1, and the second value of x is labeled as x2. Now, since this is x1, this will be labeled automatically, that is your y1, and this will be labeled as y2. Why? Because this is already labeled as x2. So automatically that will be y2. Now, how do we put this into the formula? So you're gonna write that the midpoint, this midpoint, so you're gonna write here, for example, midpoint. We continue up there, that midpoint equals to, okay, what is x1? x1 is 3 plus x2, x2 is 9. The answer you get divided by 2. y1 is 8 plus y2 is 15. The answer you get divided by 2. Put that in brackets. So your midpoint will be equal to 3 plus 9, that is 12, divided by 2. 8 plus 15 divided by 2. Okay, what is 8 plus 15? 8 plus 15, that will be equal to 23. You need to divide by 2. So the midpoint here, that gives you 6. Put a comma. 23 divided by 2. This will be 11.5. So you get 11.5. Okay. So that will be 11.5, and this is your midpoint. Okay. All right. So now, when you do that, you collect your 1 mark. All right. So let us proceed. We have a function over here. So here is a function, but a lot of students do not know how do we transform this mapping. How do we transform this mapping into the so-called a function machine? So you need to convert this mapping into a function machine. Now the problem lies here. How do we change a mapping? When I say mapping is this arrow, how do we convert an arrow into a function machine? All right, so how do we do that? It's simple. What we are supposed to do is try to understand that here, X is your input. So X is your input, X is your input. Now, when X is considered as your input, then you see what is happening to X. X has been multiplied by 10. X has been multiplied by 10. Then after multiplying the input by 10, then add 2. Then add 2. When you add 2, there you get your output. See, X times 10 is 10X. 10X plus 2, you'll be getting 10X plus 2. So this, what I have here, this one here is the one which we call the function machine. So you convert that mapping, into the so-called a function machine. So I hope you can see the function machine there, that X, which is here, X, which is your input, has been multiplied by 10. The answer you get, add 2. Okay, now what if you reverse the process? What if you reverse the process? What if you reverse the process? To reverse the process, we do this way, that your input will be here. Then when you reverse the process, then you need to take this input, then you need to, instead of adding 2, you need to subtract 2. Once you subtract 2, then you need to divide by 10. You need to divide by 10. This is the reverse process. And once you do that, you'll be getting your output, which is X minus 2. You get X minus 2. The answer you get, the whole thing has to be divided by 10. I hope that is clear now. So we have the forward movement and we have the backward movement, or the reversed movement. Okay, now once we know the reverse process and the forward movement, then we can be able to answer this question here. So here is a function. Let us try to see. X is mapped onto 10x plus 2. Now fill in the missing numbers. When the input is 3, the output is 32. That means this is the forward movement. This is the forward movement. And when I say forward movement, I mean I'm talking about this. I'm talking about this function machine, which says for whatever input comes here, it has to be multiplied by 10. After multiplying by 10, the answer you get add 2, then you get your output. Now, in our case here, the input is 3. So when you take 3, put it here. 3 times 10 is 30. 30 plus 2 will be 32. And that is what you can see there. How about when the input is 7? Same thing. That we need to use the forward movement. That is 7. 7. 7 comes here as an input. 7 times 10 is 70. 70 plus 2 is 72. So that is what you can see over here. Now, you have to fill the missing numbers here. When the input is 4, what is the output? So come here, do the calculation. When the input is 4, so do 4 times 10 is 40. 40 plus 2 is 42. So you'll be writing here 42. How about this? This you need to work in the reverse process. You need to reverse the process. Now, how do we reverse the process? I have done it for you here. This is the reverse. This is the reverse. how do we reverse that? You see that? So this is 2. So you'll be taking this 2 here. Take this 2 here, put it there. Now 2 minus 2 is 0. 0 divided by 10, any number. 0 divided by any number except 0 by itself. The answer is 0. So go ahead. This is 2. This is 2 here. So perform the reversed process. So this will be 2 minus 2 is 0. 0 divided by 10. The answer is 0. So here will be 0. And you can try to check your answer using the forward movement. That we have 0 here. Can I substitute 0 in the forward movement here? This is the forward movement, and see if I'm going to get 2. So we have 0 here times 10. 0 times 10 is 0. 0 plus 2 is 2. So you can see that my answer is correct. Right? So let us proceed. We have question number 14. Pause the video, take the notes, and then you're good to go. Right, so work out that, give your answer as a fraction in simplest form. That is easy. So what you're gonna do is just go ahead writing 7 over 12 times 9 over 14. Check across. Are these numbers simplifiable? Yes, by 3 that is 4, by 3 that is 3. Are these numbers simplifiable? Yes, you can simplify by 7, that is 1. By 7, that is 2. So the answer will be 1 times 3 over 4 times 2. And this will give you 3 out of 8. And you'll be writing 3 out of 8. Oh, you are getting 2 marks for only this. Oh my goodness. Anyway, no problem. So 3 out of 8. That will be your answer. So you get your 2 marks there. Okay, so then let us go to question number 9. Question number 9. Question number 9 is this graph question, which we call it distance time graph. Okay. All right. Now let us try to zoom out. This looks so huge. This looks so huge. And then put it on average dimensions. Okay. So this is on page 9. Question number 16 says, Angelique leaves home at 9:30. So this is 9:30. This is 9:30. So this is 9. This is 9:15. 9:30 is here. 9:45 and then 10 o'clock. So Angelique leaves at 9:30. So Angelique leaves at this point. This is Angelique, and goes all the way. So goes all the way to 8 kilometers up to this point. Okay. Now Angelique leaves home at 9:30 to go for a walk. The graph shows information about her walk. This is the information about her walk. Okay. Now let us try to analyze this graph. Now Angelique starts at 9:30, goes all the way. Then as Angelique covers 8 kilometers, as Angelique covers 8 kilometers, Angelique takes a break. As you can see that the flatness here, this graph being flat, this graph being flat means a break or a person is at rest. A person is at rest. That is what it means. Okay. Now, she walks 8 kilometers, stops for a rest, then returns home the same way. So she walked all the way. After 8 kilometers, she had a break. And then after a break, for how long? That you can calculate. How long was she resting? You read this time here, and also you read this time there, in order for you to know how long this Angelique was resting. So how long? This is 11, that is 11:30. The break starts at 11:30 and then ended at 12:30. So you can see that Angelique was resting for an average of 1 hour. You see that? Because you do 12:30 minus 11:30, you'll be getting an average of 1 hour break. Now, what is the question? The question says, the question says, work out her speed on the return part of her journey. How do we calculate speed? Speed. You all know that this triangle is helping you to remember the formula that distance for D, distance divided by time equals to speed. So if I'm looking for speed, I'm gonna do speed. I'm looking for speed. So work out her speed on the return part of her journey. Work out her speed. So speed will be equal to distance, divided by time. Now, the question is, work out her speed on the return part. The return part of her journey starts from here. Returning starts from here. Returning starts from this point here up to this point all the way up to here. See that? So that is the return part. Okay, let me try to draw it very neatly to show my students that the returning point starts from here, goes all the way down there. See that? That is your returning journey. So what you are supposed to know that we need to, in order for us to calculate the speed, we need to know the distance. We need to know the distance from here. We need to know the distance from that point, the distance from this point, all the way down to this point. So the distance is this distance here minus this distance. So the distance over there is 8 minus 0, and this gives you 8 kilometers. Okay, so the distance is 8 kilometers. So go ahead writing 8 kilometers over here. Over time. Now, what about time? Time, you need to know that returning back home started what time? What time did the returning start? Okay, so what time did the returning start? So this person started returning at this point here. Can you see this? This point here. So what time is that? So you need to read what time was that. Okay. Now, how do we read that time? Okay, so you need to be very careful on how to read time. Okay, now at this point here, what time was this? Because we need to calculate the time used for returning back home. So this is 12:15, 12:30. So this time here is 12:30. And what time did Angelique reach home? She reached home at this time here, which is 14:30. Can you see that? 14:30. Now from 12:30 to 14:30, how many hours have gone? From 12:30 to 14:30, we have an average of 2 hours. So we write here 2 hours. Now, how do we calculate the speed? Cut this by 2, cut that by 2, that makes 4. So the answer will be 4 kilometers per hour. That is the speed. Okay, so the next question here is Carlos is Angelique's brother. Carlos is Angelique's brother. He leaves home at 10 sharp. He leaves home at 10 o'clock. Okay. So this is another person who is the brother of Angelique, right? So Angelique brother leaves home at 10 sharp. So let us see where is 10 sharp, where is 10 o'clock. So 10 o'clock is here. So try to mark this 10 o'clock with a point, like so, with a dot. And then what is happening there is that Carlos is Angelique's brother. He leaves home at 10 o'clock. He walks at a speed of 8 kilometers per hour in the same direction as Angelique. He walks for 90 minutes. Oh, he walks for 90 minutes. Okay, so from 10 o'clock, we have to keep a border where 90 minutes ends. But remember, 90 minutes is an average of 1 hour, 30 minutes. So over here, we will be writing 90 minutes is an average of 1 hour, 30 minutes. Now from 10 o'clock to, we have to count from 10 o'clock to how much did the journey of Angelique's brother stop. So we have to count 90 minutes. That means 1 hour, 30 minutes. From 10 o'clock, from here to here is 1 hour plus 30 minutes. So Angelique's brother ended here. So you put a mark, This is where Angelique's brother stopped. See that? This is where Angelique's brother stopped. Okay, now we have got that Angelique's brother, his journey ended somewhere here at 11:30, this point here. Now the question is, draw a line on the graph to show his walk. Okay, draw a line to show his walk. So what we're gonna do is to draw a line that shows Angelique's walk. We already know that the journey started at 10. And ended at 11:30 because it took an average of 1 hour, 30 minutes. So what we're gonna do is go ahead calculating the distance Angelique's brother covered. So he walks at a speed of 6 kilometers per hour in the same direction as Angelique. He walks for 90 minutes. 90 minutes is an average of 1 hour, 30 minutes, and this is the same as 1.5 hours. So we need to calculate the distance. This time we need to calculate the distance. So what we're gonna do is go back to the formula that distance over time equals to speed. So if I'm looking for distance, I'm gonna go ahead taking speed times time. So here I write distance. Equals to speed times time. And this will be equal to, the speed is 6 kilometers per hour, means over hour. Then I need to multiply by time. Time is 1.5 hours. So this hour and this hour will be cancelled. And then you remain with 6 kilometers multiplied by 1.5. Now 6 times 1.5, that will be giving you 9.0 kilometers. That means Angelique's brother has walked a distance of 9 kilometers. Now, how do we show? Now, let us first remember that Angelique's brother started somewhere here. Let me try to show nicely so that you can understand what I'm trying to say. Angelique's brother started at 10 o'clock and walked for 90 minutes. 90 minutes, remember I said, is an average of 1 hour, 30 minutes. So if it's 10 to 11 is 1 hour, then plus 9 plus 30 minutes. So you put a mark that this is the time that was taken by Angelique's brother. But how about the distance? The distance was, so you have to show very clearly the distance that Angelique's brother walked. So the distance will be from this time here, you have to go all the way up there. Let me try to show clearly using perhaps a straight line. Okay, so there we go. So from here, all the way up to 9. Can you see that? And then take out this line, which was meant to show the time. Where did the time end? So you can see that from 10 o'clock here, and the time was 11:30. So you can see that the journey is starting from here all the way up until 9 kilometers, because the distance that Angelic brother has gone is 9 kilometers. How did I get 9 kilometers? I have got 9 kilometers by using the formula, which says distance equals to speed times time. The speed was given is 6 kilometers per hour, and the time was given, but the time was given in minutes. So you have to change 90 minutes into hours, which would be 1.5 hours. Okay, I hope that is clear. Estimate the time when Angelic and Carlos meet. What time did they meet? They meet. Can you see at this point of intersection? Can you see at this point of intersection? The point of intersection is here. That is the point where Angelic and Carlos met. So what time did they meet? They met at 11 o'clock. So here, estimate the time when Angelic and Carlos met. So here you just go ahead writing, they met at 11 o'clock. Simple like that. All right, so let us try to proceed quickly and see if we can finish all the questions. So estimate the time when Angelic and Carlos met. So they met somewhere here at 11 o'clock. Where the two graphs meet is where they met. Okay, so then you're good to go. And the graph will look like this. And this is the point where they met. So go ahead, pausing the video, go slowly, try to copy all these answers. They will help you in the future. Okay. All right, let me see if I can stop here. Nope, let me try to proceed, because this is a 1 hour question. This square-based pyramid is made of wire. The edges of the base have length 3.07 centimeter. The base. Let me try to show the base. This is the base here. Okay. Let me try to show the base. The base, this square-based pyramid is made of a wire. The edges of the base all have length 3.07 centimeter. All. So this is the base. That is the base of this square pyramid. You see that the base. Now, what is happening to this base is that the edges of the base all have length 3.07 centimeter. How many edges are there? We have 1, 2, 3, 4 edges, but each is 3.7. So 3.07 centimeter multiplied by 4 will be getting, that is 28, 2, that is 12, put a dot there. So this is 12.28. Okay, so that is for the base. These are centimeters. Okay, so that is for the base. Now, do we have another part? Let us see. Yes, we have another part, which is that part of the other edges all have length 6.93. Okay. So they are talking about these edges here, other edges, which are these ones here. The first edge, another edge there, another edge there, another edge there. So how many edges are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. So also the other edges all have length 6.93 centimeters. The other edges all have length 6.9. Okay, the edges of the base all have length that much. Okay, so you go ahead taking 6.93 multiplied by 4. What do you get? This will be 12. Okay, this will be 12 carry 1. That will be 36. 36, 37. That will be 24. 3, 24, 27. This looks good, yeah? Okay. So we have 12, 36, 37, 24, 27. 1, 2. So we have 27. So find the total length of wire. Okay, so what you're gonna do to find the total length, we're gonna take that 12.28 centimeters. And also this is in centimeter. So you add it to 27.72. This is centimeter. So when you add that, this is 10 carry 1, this is 9, that is 10 carry 1, this is 9, that is 10 carry 1, this is 40. So the answer will be 40 centimeter. When you do that, you get your 2 marks. This question was a bit tricky. So if you're not careful, you can just end up losing this question. And I believe majority will take 6.93 plus 3.07. Then when they do that, boom, they get the wrong answer. Okay, so the answer is 40. Now here is a number fact. Now this is the problem. Some students do not know how to use a number fact to answer questions. Okay, so we have how many slides left? Okay, maybe for this video, let me stop here, then I'll come back to continue with question number 18 to the last question, because until now I have done almost 9 slides, and then I will come back for the remaining other sides, which will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so I'll be back. So bye-bye for now. Stay safe. Zebron here. Bye-bye.